Hi, my name is Nick Korir. The full name is Nick Kiblangat Arab Korir. That's how you say it. I turn 50 next year. I am married, been married for 21 years to Jush, and we have two boys. One of our sons is called Don, and the other of our sons is called Dan. They're identical twins. And I've lived in Nairobi most of my life. My background is I was born and raised in Kericho. In fact, my earliest recollection of a motorcycle and my earliest memories of being in a motorcycle was early in life. My dad owned a motorcycle, and I used to look forward to him coming home. And every evening when he got home, he would put me on the tank of the motorcycle and give me a ride around my compound, around our compound. So those were kind of my earliest days on a motorbike. Later on, when I became a teenager, of course, I jumped onto my dad's bike without his knowledge and learned how to ride by myself. From those earlier days, developed a passion for riding motorcycles, started riding a bit more often. Later on, got a motorcycle and began to ride. But when I started dating my wife, she told me, her, and the motorcycle cannot exist in the same relationship. So I chose wisely. So I let go of my motorcycle, I sold my motorbike, and throughout the 7 years we were dating before we got married, I didn't ride. And even the first few years of marriage, I didn't ride. And surprise, surprise, on our 5th wedding anniversary, my wife bought me the bike of my dreams, the Yamaha Tenere 600 XT. So from the year 2008, I started riding again and have continued to ride since. Part of my background academically is I am trained in renewable energy. I had a passion and a desire to help people and to be able to help humanity. And so I went into renewable energy, but later on, immediately after that, God called me to ministry, to serve Him and to serve the young people of Africa. So I became a pastor very early on. It's now 25 years since I've been a pastor, and now I serve as the senior pastor of Nairobi Chapel on Gong Road. So that's a little bit about myself. So around Africa is actually a dream I have had for many, many years. As soon as I got back to my bike again in the year 2008, and I had an adventure motorcycle, the Yamaha XT 600, the Tenere, I really wanted to now start touring. My passion is going not fast, but going far. I love the continent of Africa, and I love adventure, and I love touring. And in my heart of hearts, I just desired to be able to transverse this continent. So in the year 2009, we came up with an idea to be able to travel across the continent, but in different legs. So in 2010, we started plans to be able to tour, and we managed to finally tour from Nairobi all the way to Cape Town in South Africa and back to Nairobi. That happened in 2013. That was called the Jubilee Ride South. And the reason why it was called Jubilee Ride South is I wanted to kind of tour Africa South and then go north, Jubilee Ride North, and then do Jubilee Ride West. So that was like the first leg. Later on, we planned to try and go north, but there was the Arab Spring. It was difficult to go north. It became very challenging. So we kept postponing and kept postponing. And this went on and on and on. And I just kept asking myself, will this dream ever come true? But a few years ago, I decided I'm going to be turning 50 very soon. Let me bite the bullet and actually fulfill the dream that God has, laid on my heart. And that's when we, began to think about how about doing all these legs at the same time? Yeah, so the Around Africa initiative is essentially a motorcycle ride around the continent of Africa. The Around Africa initiative is a desire to do something historic as African motorcycle riders, which is to circumnavigate the entire continent of Africa in one ride. The essence of the ride is to actually reach the 4 extreme points of Africa: North Africa, West Africa, East Africa, and South Africa. So the northern point of Africa is called the Algiran Point. That's in Tunisia. The westernmost part of Africa is in Senegal. It's called the Cape Almadi. The southernmost part of Africa is Cape Agulhas in Cape Town, and the easternmost part of Africa is in the Horn of Africa. It's called the Kafun Point. So as motorcycle riders, we desire to circumnavigate the continent of Africa to cover about 40,000 kilometers by road as we go along as close to the coastline of the continent of Africa, to cover about 40,000 kilometers, 40 countries. Those are the countries that we hope to be able to go through. And again, to be able to do this not just as a motorcycle ride, but we are passionate about providing hope to young people in Africa through education. So we would like to create an endowment fund called the Logos Endowment Fund that sponsors needy students in Africa to go through their education through Nairobi Chapel's Logos Scholarship Fund. So that's what the Around Africa initiative is all about. Education is a universal equalizer. Education offers opportunities to young people across the board, regardless their background, regardless where they have come from. Education is a tool that if you place in the hands of any young person, it would allow them to be able to reach their destiny and to be able to reach their dreams. And we ask ourselves, what is the most significant gift and significant tool that we can place in the hands of a needy young person in this continent? And education was it, because finally they get a chance, finally they get an opportunity to be able to reach their dreams and to be able to accomplish their dreams. So that's why we're passionate about education. Education offers this opportunity, but education also opens up young people's minds. Education gives them possibilities and allows them to understand the world in a different way. Education opens possibilities for the next generation. And for us, it's the most special thing that we could do for the next generation. So I went to boarding school when I was in Standard 1. And I basically went throughout my entire education in a boarding school that was about 300 kilometers away from home. It was a good boarding school. It gave me an opportunity to get independent immediately. But it also gave me the opportunity to be able to become myself and to believe in myself, to do things for myself, to get to the place of responsibility, to make decisions, in a very early stage of my life. Education allowed me, in my educational journey, allowed me to interact with people from literally not just across the country, but different parts of this region. We had students from Uganda, students from Tanzania, students from our neighboring countries, and I quickly got to begin to be exposed to a world outside of the world that I was actually born. So throughout my educational journey, being in boarding school has defined who I am. I think it's given me the sense of adventure. It's given me the sense of responsibility. I think it's made me daring and a bit more courageous. I think it's allowed me to discover myself earlier on in life and to be able to live who I am unashamedly. So education, has done that for me. Again, specifically boarding school. So I went to boarding school in Standard 1, continued my education, finished my primary education back at home in Kericho, and then later on went to the best high school in the Republic of Kenya. I went to Mangu High School. My dream was to be a pilot. It's the only school that was offering aviation at that time. So now, in hindsight, I think I had that dream because I just loved thrills. I just loved extremes, and it's defined who I am today. But later on, I didn't become a pilot. I realized I love working with my hands. So I went to university to be able to study renewable energy, to provide, solar, solutions and water, renewable solutions like water and solar to various communities, drilling boreholes, irrigation systems, those kind of things. I loved working with my hands. But that's when I realized that actually my passion is to be able to help people that are vulnerable, people that are in need. That's really what's at the core of who I am. And yeah, that's when I later on discovered that God has called me to ministry. So went to study theology, and finished my studies in theology, and later on became a pastor. So that's kind of a snapshot of my educational journey. It's very interesting that from 2008 to present, we have educated 815 students, have gone through high school and gone through university as a product of the Logos Scholarship Fund. This year alone, we have 232 students that are now fully sponsored this year alone through the fund itself. But for us to be able to do that, we have to keep going to the congregation at Nairobi Chapel and inviting them to give. And they have given generously over the years. But we realize this may not be sustainable because we can't grow the fund in the way we want to grow it. We can't take on more students. We had this year alone a waiting list of 112 students that we were not able to take on to the fund. So we were limited in terms of resources because we could only give what we have. And we realized probably there's another way to increase the number of students that we get onto the fund and be able to support more students through the sponsorships that we offer. So the Around Africa initiative aims to establish an endowment fund that through the principal, we could be able to get some gains or some interest every single year and entrust this money to the trustees of the Logos Scholarship Fund to educate more students. At least if we continue to grow the principal over the years, then we can be able to accommodate growth of more and more students and do not consume our seed. We don't eat our seed. Instead, we're planting our seed, and it's the interest, it's the proceeds of our seed that educates students. Our ultimate target, currently we spend about 13 million shillings every single year to see these 250 students through high school and universities. Our ultimate target for the endowment fund is to put or to lock into the endowment 150 million shillings over the next 5 years, so that every year we can at least withdraw 15 million shillings, and we can guarantee that if a student joins the fund in Form 1, they are guaranteed to finish university because we have secured a sustainable way to ensure that they are actually able to complete their education. So we're just building in sustainability to an amazing work of scholarship that has continued on for over 15 years. And we continue to celebrate the work that God has done through Nairobi Chapel in providing scholarships to students. So this is, our desire to build in sustainability, financial sustainability, but also to build in sustainability in terms of supporting the fund into perpetuity. Yeah, so how am I feeling about the ride? I have mixed feelings, to be honest. I have feelings of great expectation because this is probably the biggest thing I have ever done in my life. So there's a sense of just great expectation. So that comes with excitement for, is this actually going to happen? There's an excitement around, we are actually going to go around the continent of Africa. But as is normal, I have deep anxieties also. Because on a ride like this, so many things can go wrong. And so it's mixed feelings. It's great expectation, anticipation, excitement, but also there's a sense of, anxiety around, will this actually happen? Which is good because I think that those are balanced feelings. But as a dude, to be honest, I actually don't know what I'm feeling. I think that's the best, answer for the question. Oh, we've encountered so many challenges. Africa is a unique continent. It's a continent that is very unpredictable. Things change overnight. A country can be stable, overnight it's unstable. Rules get introduced overnight in terms of border crossings and things like that. So one of my biggest challenges is staying as informed and as crisp about the current affairs in every single nation that we're going through, because it changes so fast. Africa is so dynamic in that sense. But I think that also generates the excitement. That's where the adventure is, because there's so many things that are unexpected that can come our way during a trip such as this. So that has been one of the challenges. Another big challenge is making sure we have all the visas for each and every one of the countries that we're going through, and ensuring those visas are valid, they're current, they have not expired, to not get into that country when that visa is expired. So there's a logistical nightmare which we have faced in terms of when we get the visas, etc. Most of the Central and Southern Africa is a breeze where visas are concerned, because we can travel most of Central and Southern Africa without necessity for a visa. And I pray that one day Africa will be like that, where we can easily traverse our own continent without the demands and the requirements of travel, by getting a visa. So hopefully that will happen. Other challenges that we've gotten is getting contacts of people in those respective countries. Some countries need fixers, people that can be able to sort you out here and there logistically, administratively, etc. So we've gotten challenges in that sense, getting the right contacts as we prepare ourselves to be able to go around the continent. But I think the biggest challenge is the unpredictability of this continent. Things change so fast, and it's challenging if you're not flexible. It's challenging if you're not able to adjust to those changes. But it's also exciting in that sense. Something I'm looking forward to be very, very honest, is I love going to new places. I just love going to new places. I love riding my bike on a new road that I have never been on before. And I think my greatest excitement is being able to ride on roads I have never been on before, to be able to step into nations I have never been on before, to interact with people I have never seen before, to be able to engage with cultures I have never engaged with before. So for me, anything new, anything fresh in that sense, and Africa is full of freshness. That is one of the most exciting things, to get to interact with bikers in the continent of Africa, because we'll be meeting all the biker groups in all the countries that we're going to see the life of bikers in different nations and how unique the biker culture in those countries are, to interact with new cultures, to interact with new languages, to be able to interact with new foods. Those are exciting. But probably the thing I'm looking forward to most is getting back next year in May 2025 and seeing the faces of the students that we will have given hope, the faces of the students that we will have secured their education for the next 8 years. Seeing those faces as a product of this ride is the most significant thing that could ever happen to me, or that could ever happen to any of the bikers. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. In September 30th of September 2025, I officially turned 50 years of age. So this ride for me commemorates a very significant milestone in my life, because I finally turned half a century where my age is concerned. This is deeply significant to me, and I kept asking myself, is this just going to be a leaf that, is it just going to be a chapter that I open up in my life, a new chapter post 50? Is it just going to be celebrating a new view on 5th floor where my life is concerned? And I thought to myself, no, there probably is something more significant that I can be able to commemorate my 50th birthday through. So the reason we have kind of taglined this ride 50 for a lifetime is because in celebration of my 50th birthday, I would like to provide hope to at least 50 students to go through high school and to go through university for the rest of my life, because of the seed money that we will have raised and deposited in the endowment fund that will secure at least 50 scholarships of students for my lifetime, for my son's lifetime, for my grandchildren's lifetime, into posterity. So it's 50 for a lifetime, providing hope to 50 students, providing hope to 50 families, providing hope to 50 generations for the rest of my life. So I think for me, that's the most significant thing as I celebrate this milestone. So 50, here I come. I have received invaluable support. I think the first support that I want to celebrate is the support I have received from Nairobi Chapel. Nairobi Chapel, where I have served faithfully for the past 15 years, has released me next year to be on sabbatical for a whole year, to be able to rest as a minister. I think the value and the gift of time that I have been given to be able to be on this ride is probably one of the greatest gifts that I could ever celebrate at this time. I have received immense support from my family, my wife and our 2 boys, Don and Dan. That has been invaluable support. You have been behind me in this dream from when this dream began. You continued to be my greatest cheerleaders, and I celebrate and I value the support that I've received from my immediate and my extended families, my friends and my social networks. Amazing encouragement that I've received from you. But we've received immense support also from not just corporates, but even the government. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has stepped in and offered to be able to facilitate for our visas and our travel across all these nations, facilitate for our ability to gather and celebrate the Kenyan communities in all the countries that we're going. Again, because it's a trip of this nature, that is invaluable support. The media support that we've received from our media partners, Royal Media Services, what an amazing gift to be able to get the largest media house in this country behind us as we continue on in this trip. We have many corporates that have come on board already. There are many others that are coming on board. And let me just take this opportunity on behalf of not just myself, but on behalf of the Around Africa team to say thank you. Thank you very much for every corporate, the government entities that have stepped in, for our family, for the church, the body of Christ at large. Thank you very much to every single person that has supported, and everyone that will send a donation to the Logos Endowment Fund. Let me say thank you in advance for joining us to provide hope for each and every one of these young people as we educate them for life and we educate them for eternity. It's not a mistake that you have heard about Around Africa on motorcycle. It's not a mistake that you've stumbled on this clip. There's a reason. God is prompting you to be able to be part of it. God is prompting you to be able to be part of something bigger than yourself. That's why we are a part of it, because we want to do something greater than any of us individually could be able to accomplish. And that's the power of all of us. When we gather together, we will do something greater than we could ever have accomplished alone. I just want to encourage you, if you're there and you're considering supporting the Logos Endowment Fund, supporting us as the Around Africa team, I just want to encourage you to move from success to significance. From investing in the success of your life to begin to invest in the significance of your life, where your life counts for something beyond you. Not just what you have and what you use, but what somebody else can become simply because you sacrificed a little of your time, sacrificed a little of your resources. It is invaluable. It is a significant gift that you're going to give that will outlive you for generations to come. So welcome to join us as we stand together and establish the Logos Endowment Fund. I invite you to donate to the Logos Endowment Fund by using the details at the bottom of your screen. Join us as we educate for life and for eternity, to do something that will outlive you for generations to come. Donate to the Logos Endowment Fund. The details are at the bottom of your screen.